Hi sweet friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisania Robles. If you're new here, I make motherhood lifestyle videos, all with the theme of living God's way every single day. And today I have the best story to tell you, and that is my birth story with my baby boy, baby number 2. Later on in this video, you'll get to meet little man, and I'll be revealing his name, so you'll definitely want to stick around until the end. So the birth of my son was not the way that we expected it to be. He was born at 32 weeks. That is a whole 2 months before his due date. He was born at 8 months because even though we say pregnancy is 9 months, it's really 10 months. Like if you reach the whole 40 weeks. He was born at 8 months at exactly 32 weeks, like literally the day after I was 32 weeks, he was born. It was very unexpected, very sudden, and I'm gonna kind of bring you back a little bit. So if you've been following me for a while, or if you know of me, then you know that I had a preterm labor with my firstborn. She was born at 26 weeks, and I talk all about my birth story with her. I have that video on this channel. If you want to check it out, you can. I'll leave the link down below. With this new pregnancy, everything is going super great, super amazing. I was enjoying absolutely every second of it. I love being pregnant. I know a lot of women don't. I absolutely love it. I grieve the bump every time I give birth. Like, I absolutely love pregnancy, even though it has its ups and downs. And I've also made videos talking on my first and second trimester, so you can also check this out on my YouTube channel. Even though I was high risk for my firstborn, being born at 26 weeks, everything was going really good. Like, there was no bleeding, there was nothing abnormal, and I even got cleared that same week that he was born from the high risk doctor to, you know, like, I graduated visiting the high-risk doctor. I didn't have to go to him anymore. I would just continue my normal visits with my OB. So everything was going great, and we made it past the 26 weeks. I was like, okay, this baby is actually gonna come full term. So I thought, and night of May 9th, I started to get some cramps. My husband and I were watching a movie at the house, and I started to feel a little bit weird right when we were going to bed, and I told him about it, but I wasn't too concerned. I really thought it's probably Braxton kicks, or I don't know, it's like a stomach ache or something, like I'll be fine. And I went to sleep. I laid down in bed, and this is very similar to Leah's story as well, if you have heard it. So I was kind of just scrolling on my phone because I couldn't really go to sleep. Like, I was uncomfortable, and I kept telling Carlos, like, ugh, I feel a little off, like I feel weird. And he kept asking me, like, do you want to go to the hospital? Do you want to go get checked? And I was like, no, I don't think it's like a big deal. I'll sleep it off, and if it doesn't go away in the morning, then I'll go get checked. I started to get more and more uncomfortable, and I started to get a rhythm to the pain. I kept telling myself, no, these aren't contractions, because they didn't feel very strong, honestly. And then I just kept telling myself, you just feel weird, like, you're fine, it's gonna go away, the baby is healthy, everything looks good, like, you literally just got clear from the high-risk doctor, you're fine, just try to sleep it off. And as I tried to sleep it off, like, I just couldn't sleep at all. So I told my husband, and just like telling him to kind of complain, not telling him to do something about it, you know. So I was just telling him, like, I really don't feel good right now, I feel weird, I don't feel like I'm about to have the baby, but this discomfort is kind of just like not going away. So Carlos, at that time, it was like the 3rd time that I told him, he was like, yeah, get up, we're gonna go to the hospital. And I begged him not to go. If you've seen a couple of my recent videos, or if you follow me on social media, then you know that we're going through a whole situation with my mom. My mom had 2 strokes, and she has been in the hospital for 3 months now. So hospitals have a bad taste in my mouth at the moment, and I just know the moment you step into the hospital, you're gonna spend hours there, and I really did not want to spend hours at the hospital for them to tell me like, oh, you're fine, just go home. So that was my reason for not wanting to go. I didn't feel like I was having contractions, or else I would have definitely been like, yeah, let's go. And I wasn't bleeding, I wasn't having anything abnormal, I just felt discomfort. I also didn't want to go to the hospital because it was the middle of the night, and this time around we had a little one. So with Leah, she was the firstborn, so it was just, okay, we go to the hospital, we don't have to like call anybody to pick up a child or anything. This time around, I didn't want to bother anybody in the middle of the night for it to turn out to be nothing. So I was like, please no, let's just stay home. If it doesn't go away in the morning, I'll definitely go get checked, but I don't want to call anybody, I don't want to get Leah up, I'll sleep it off. And he was like, no, we're going to the hospital. And I'm so glad that he made that call. I packed a few things that I wish I had with Leah, just in case it was actually, you know, labor. I quickly packed a couple of things. I grabbed like PJs, just like some essentials, some hygiene stuff, and he got Leah in the car seat. And I'm so glad that he made that call, because we arrived at the hospital. We went up to the OB emergency, and I was like, hey, I've been having contractions. From the moment that I told him I feel discomfort, I don't feel comfortable, to the car ride until I got to the hospital, I knew that I was having contractions, even though I was kind of in denial because they had a rhythm to it. Judging from like my first experience with Leah, that's also how it started. I noticed that like my mood was completely like changed. Like I was super grumpy with my husband. Like I could not stand him talking to me. I was like, please shut up. Like I really think I told him to shut up like 3 times. I was very uncomfortable. I kind of suspected something was happening, but I was also kind of just telling myself like, no, you're not gonna have this baby right now. Like he's supposed to come full term, at least 37 weeks. So we got to the hospital, we get checked in, and my husband stays outside with Leah because they don't let minors go into that area, I guess. And they check me, they draw some blood. I told her I was just feeling like cramps. The nurse told me that I was probably just dehydrated, so she gets me some water. I start drinking the water. Then the doctor comes in and she does a cervical check. When she checks me, she's like, oh honey, you are 30 centimeters dilated. And right then and there, like everything kind of shifted for me. I was in denial the whole time, so facing the reality that I was gonna give birth prematurely again, it was like, oh no, this is happening again. There was just so much going on in life. Like we hadn't had the baby shower. The baby shower was scheduled for the week after he was actually born. Also just the fact that he was gonna be born prematurely, so I knew the drill. I knew that he was gonna have to stay in the NICU. My mom was in the hospital, so there was just so many factors. Also the fact that my mom wasn't able to be with me was very hard, because we had pre-planned and talked that, you know, she was going to be there with me, that she was probably going to take Leah, or that she was going to be in the labor room with me, helping me go through labor as she did with Leah. And in that moment, the doctor told me, yeah, you're gonna have an emergency C-section because the baby was breech. And I literally told the nurses, okay, just give me 1 second, like I'm about to cry, because I was just so overwhelmed. I wasn't worried about the baby because I knew the baby was fine. If my 26-week-old was able to make it, he was able to make it. I wasn't worried about his health or my health. I wasn't scared about the C-section. I was just thinking of like how my plan went completely out the window because my mom wasn't there. And it was kind of a fear that I was facing, because when my mom had the second massive stroke, which I talk about in a video, you can check it down below, it disabled a lot of her like cognitive areas. So I was very scared of like, is she going to be able to like meet my son when he's born? Is she still going to, you know, be very affected? Is she going to be kind of in this coma state that she was in? Is she going to make it? And it's things that, you know, you wish you never had to go through, especially with a loved one, but it was my reality. Just not having my mom there, or not being able to just text her and call her and tell her what's going on, was very difficult. It was the most difficult part of baby boy being born. It wasn't so much like me or him. Again, I wasn't concerned about our like health. I knew that he was gonna be fine. I knew that I was gonna be fine. It was just like that emotional, like, okay, we're facing our anxiety a little bit, or facing the fear that we had, and this is our reality right now, and you know, we just got to get through it. We just have to get through it. There's literally no other option. So that was very hard. So then my sweet sister-in-laws and I think my brother-in-law, they came, they picked up Leah, and my husband was finally able to go into the room with me. When I texted him, I was texting him this whole time. He was in the waiting room area. I was like, hey, they just checked me, and I'm not dehydrated. I'm actually 3 centimeters dilated. He started to freak out. He was like, oh my gosh, like I have Leah, like I want to be with you when you give birth. So he quickly called them. They were able to get there very quickly, thank the Lord. And when he came in, the doctor came again, and they checked me another time, because to do like an emergency C-section, they have to check you at least 2 times. At least that's what she told me, to make sure that I was actually dilating and actually in like labor, and to see like if they could stop me from, you know, dilating even more, or if it was too late and they needed to proceed with labor. So they checked me again, and this was like 30 minutes in between, I kid you not. I went from 3 centimeters to 6 centimeters dilated, and they were like, yes, we absolutely need to do this like right now. I don't know what it was, but when I hit 6 centimeters, I felt really relief. Like the contractions at this point were pretty heavy. Once she checked me and she told me that I was 6 centimeters dilated, I don't know why. I don't know if it was like a mental thing, but physically, like I felt really good, and I didn't have like any medicines at this point or anything yet. So I really felt super relieved, and I didn't really get many contractions at this point. So they transferred me over to the OR, and they, you know, I signed the form that I was gonna get a C-section. She explained the risk and all the good OR stuff. So then I got a spinal. I remember like Leah's birth very clearly. I remember having a lot of anxiety when they put the epidural, because you can't feel your legs. When I was experiencing labor with baby boy, and my husband just kept reminding me like, just breathe. He held my hand. I am like a hand grabber and squeezer when I give birth, and I just take deep breaths, and I keep myself grounded, which helps so much, and I give myself into the contractions instead of trying to fight it. So they took me into the OR, and they were gonna give me a spinal, which I have never heard of. I've heard of an epidural, but I've never heard of a spinal. I did tell them like, hey, with the epidural, they had to give me 3, because my body, I guess, was just very resistant to the epidural, to the point that I could feel them touch my stomach before cutting. They had to wait like 5 more minutes to, you know, actually do the C-section. And this time around, they gave me a spinal. I remember one of the nurses asking me, are you okay? You look so calm. And I truly was. Like at this point, I accepted like, okay, where this is happening. I would have wished it was not right now because of everything else going on, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna meet my baby boy, which brings me so much joy and happiness, and I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna pout and throw a tantrum. I'm not gonna ask God why, and why me, and why now, you know, with everything going on with my mom, now this. I wasn't gonna do that. So I literally just surrendered to what was happening, and I was like, you know what, we're having this baby and we're gonna do it. And I honestly didn't feel much pain either, which is so crazy. I think it was just like an overwhelming peace from God, because I truly needed to pray. I was like, God, this is the hardest season of my life with everything that is going on, and now this, you know, having another preterm labor is not easy. So I was really hoping to have a full birth. I'm so thankful to the Lord that he was there with me the whole time. He gave me the spinal. It went great, and they started doing their thing, and baby boy was born, and I didn't feel anxious at all. I started to feel my legs getting numb, and with Leah, this was the part that gave me a lot of anxiety, because I tried moving my legs and I couldn't really feel them, and I panicked a little bit, and I talked to you all about that on her birth story video. You can check that one out. But this time around, I didn't even try to move my legs. I literally just gave in. It was the most peaceful birth compared to Leah's. Leah's turned out to be peaceful after my whole little panic attack. With this baby boy, it was so calm the whole time. It was so calm, and it was the fastest labor ever. It was only 8 hours. Leah was, from the moment I started the first contraction to the moment she was born, it was 36 hours. 36 hours of having contractions. Like, that is crazy. And with this one, it was just 8 hours, and it was so quick. So easy. We saw baby boy, and he looked so stinking cute, and it was awesome. It was a great time. My husband was with me. It was honestly like the best C-section experience, and I'm so glad that everything just went so well. And the first day, I did not feel any pain whatsoever. I stood up and I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel anything. They did give me really strong medication and probably the anesthesia. The second day, I started to feel a little bit of the pain, but with medications it would go away. And then the third day, I think it was probably the strongest that I really felt like when I would stand up with the C-section scar, like it took my breath away a little bit, but then I was able to like brace myself and continue to like walk slowly to the bathroom and whatever. And yeah, I stayed, I think 3 days. I pumped right away. I started producing colostrum right away, just like I did with Leah, and everything just went super smooth and super great. And I'm so forever thankful to the Lord that baby boy came healthy. He was born at 4.1 ounces and he was 17 inches long, so he was very well for being born at 32 weeks. He didn't need oxygen or anything. The whole process of him being in the NICU was super smooth. He really just needed to gain a little bit more weight, and they wanted him to reach his like gestational age or closer to the 35 weeks just to make sure that he was doing well. And he has done super great. He spent 3 weeks in the NICU, and I kid you not, those were the quickest 3 weeks of my life. If you don't follow me on social media, on Facebook or Instagram, then you are missing out, because I kind of already shared the name on there and I showed a picture of him. So here is baby boy. His name is Lucas Javier, or Lucas Javier, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna just say it in Spanish for the rest of his life. So with the name Lucas, I've always just been so in love with that name, and my husband and I, we actually picked out our kids' names when we were dating. We just always knew that we were gonna have a girl and a boy, so we know that God was very intentional with giving us them from the very beginning. And I just love the name Lucas. I don't know any Lucases. It's not a super common name, but it's also not a super strange name like my name. And I honestly just, we love it. We love the name Lucas, and we wanted it to be a biblical name and a name that started with the L, because Leah starts with an L, my name starts with an L, so we kind of just wanted to do that whole like siblings start with the same letter name thing. Leah and Lucas were the names that we wanted to name our kids, and yeah, it's honestly nothing, not too deep. It's just the only biblical name that starts with an L and that we love for a boy. So yeah, we were really for not having middle names. We're watching like this music behind the scenes, like, you know, when musicians like record themselves from elevation, and my husband, being the musician that he is, he knows like all of their names, like the musicians, and he was telling me that one of the musicians' name is LJ from Elevation Worship, and I loved that nickname. And he was telling me like how cool it would be to have that name, like LJ. It just sounds so cool. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love that. I love, like, you know, like cute little nicknames like that. And we were like, well, we're naming our boy Lucas, so that's already the L, but what about the J? Like, that is such a hard boy name. And we started to look up like a bunch of names with the J, biblical names, names in Hebrew. We prayed about it, and we were just not finding any like middle name that we loved and that went with Lucas. And then Carlos always had the idea of calling him Lucas Javier, because Javier is his middle name and he's a junior, so it was, you know, it's like special in his family. And I was like really against it. I'm like, nope, Javier is like the most Puerto Rican name. I don't want it. Like, I feel like it's very common. And I gave in. Now I kind of really love it, and it's special because I don't like the whole junior thing. I think that's just very confusing to me, but he still has a very special part of his daddy and his grandfather, which I know that for men that is like a very special thing. So yeah, that's really the meaning behind Lucas's name, and I absolutely love it. And he is the sweetest baby in the whole wide world, and I love this sage so much. I want to have like 20 of them. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This will be all for today's video, and you will see me on my next one.